Hold on to your dancing shoes, folks, because TikTok might just live to see another day in the land of the free. That's right, our newly minted Commander-in-Chief Donald J. Trump seems to be having a change of heart about everyone's favorite video sharing app. Remember all that talk about banning it outright? Well, it seems like those plans have been put on hold, at least for now. Word on the street is that Trump is about to grant TikTok a 90-day extension, a reprieve from the axe, if you will. This whole saga started back when Trump was in his first term. He was all about banning TikTok, claiming it was a national security threat. He even signed some executive orders to make it happen. But TikTok didn't take it lying down. They fought back in court, and guess what? They won. Enter stage left, a bipartisan group of lawmakers, all fired up about the perceived threat of TikTok. They weren't buying the whole, it's just a harmless app for sharing dance videos argument. They were convinced that TikTok was a Trojan horse, a way for the Chinese government to spy on American citizens and steal their precious data. TikTok has until Sunday, January 19, 2025, to comply or face the music, which in this case means getting banned from the US market. Talk about high stakes. Now you might be wondering why everyone is so worked up about TikTok. After all, it's just an app, right? Well, not quite. TikTok is owned by a Chinese company called ByteDance, and that's where things get a little sticky. There are concerns about ByteDance's ties to the Chinese government. Some folks in Washington are worried that the Chinese government could pressure ByteDance into handing over user data, which, let's face it, is a goldmine of information. Imagine all the insights into American consumer behavior, political opinions, and who knows what else, all falling into the wrong hands. But it's not just about data privacy. There's also the issue of propaganda. Some people are worried that the Chinese government could use TikTok to spread its own narrative and influence American public opinion. TikTok denies all of this. They claim that they operate independently of the Chinese government and that they would never compromise the privacy of their users. They even hired a bunch of American executives and put in place all sorts of safeguards to protect user data. But for some people, the trust is broken. They see TikTok as a wolf in sheep's clothing. Now back to the present. The new law, the one that's got everyone in a tizzy, does have a little loophole, a get-out-of-jail-free card, if you will. It allows the president to grant a one-time 90-day extension to the deadline, but there's a catch. The president has to certify to Congress that there's a viable path to divestiture, that significant progress is being made towards selling TikTok to a non-Chinese buyer, and that there are binding legal agreements in place to make sure the sale happens within that 90-day period. And that's where we are now. It seems like Trump has decided to invoke this loophole and grant TikTok that precious 90-day extension. Maybe he's realized that banning TikTok outright would be a logistical nightmare. Or maybe he's worried about the political fallout from all those angry TikTokers out there. Whatever his reasons, one thing's for sure. This decision is going to have major implications for TikTok's future in the United States. If TikTok can't find a buyer within the next 90 days, and if they can't convince the government that they're not a national security threat, then it's curtains for the app. Section 4. A divided America reacts from the White House to your FYP. As you can imagine, this whole TikTok saga has got everyone talking. Over at the White House, they're trying to put a brave face on things. They're saying that the extension is a sign that they're committed to working with TikTok to address the national security concerns. But let's be real, they're probably just stalling for time. They know that this is a no-win situation. If they ban TikTok, they'll alienate millions of young voters. But if they let TikTok off the hook, they'll be accused of being soft on China. Meanwhile, over at TikTok headquarters, it's probably a scene of controlled chaos. They're scrambling to find a buyer, any buyer who can meet the government's demands. They're also trying to reassure their users that everything is going to be okay, but it's hard to sound convincing when you're staring down the barrel of a ban. And what about the users? The millions of Americans who rely on TikTok for entertainment, information, and a sense of community? Well, they're understandably freaking out. They're flooding social media with pleas to save TikTok, organizing protests, signing petitions, and doing everything they can to make their voices heard. Section 5. What's next for TikTok? The future hangs in the balance. So what's next for TikTok? It's hard to say for sure. The next 90 days are going to be crucial. If TikTok can find a buyer and get the deal approved by the government, They might just be able to salvage their US operations. But if they can't, then it's game over. They'll be forced to shut down their American business, and who knows what will happen to all that user data. One thing's for sure, this whole saga has highlighted the growing tensions between the United States and China, particularly when it comes to technology and data privacy. It's a battle that's only going to intensify in the years to come, and TikTok is just the latest casualty in this digital Cold War. Stay tuned, folks, because this story is far from over.